Welcome to the Get Wisdom podcast.
It's great to be here.
And for you folks looking for a new way to do life, maybe figure out how to get unstuck in any area, or just need a new perspective on your current circumstance, well, we can assist you with all of these things. Check us out at www.getwisdom.cc.
Yeah, definitely worth a look. I'm Miranda.
And I'm Jay. Our goal is really to provide you with actionable insights from this piece. It's titled Quantifying Consciousness, Integrating Biology, Awareness, and Artificial Intelligence.
Quite a title.
It is. And our mission today is, well, it's a deep exploration of Siemens' work. We want to kind of pull out the framework he proposes for personalized health, spirituality, and human advancement.
Right.
Specifically focusing on how advanced technology, like AI, stops being just another distraction and actually becomes a catalyst for, well, genuine human enlightenment.
And what's really fascinating here, I think, is that the paper takes concepts we usually think of as abstract, things like intention and purpose.
Yeah, very ethereal.
Exactly. And it plants them squarely in the measurable scientific domain. He's basically arguing that our deepest intentions aren't just vague ideas floating around. No, he's saying they are biologically encoded phenomena. They're intrinsically linked to neurological patterns that we can actually observe and interpret.
Okay, so that's the foundation then. Intention as data.
Precisely. That's where this whole discussion really kicks off.
All right, so let's unpack that first part then, the biological basis of awareness. Section 1 of the paper emphasizes that the body is the instrument of consciousness. We are biological organisms, fundamentally wired for awareness. But, and this seems critical, our minds are highly distinct configurations.
Right, like a unique constellation, he says, of neural firing patterns and cortical dominance that shapes how each of us perceives reality.
So the body is the hardware, in a way.
You could think of it like that. And if the body is the instrument, then awareness itself becomes quantifiable. It's measurable.
How so? What are we measuring?
Well, we're talking about mapping the actual wiring and firing of neurons, looking at regional brain activation, even identifying underlying genetic tendencies that might predispose us certain ways.
Wow.
Yeah, and the implication here is huge. It means your current state of alignment, your intention, your purpose. It's all, in theory, biologically encoded data just waiting to be quantified.
Okay, but if we are so powerfully and uniquely wired for awareness, why do we seem to need AI assistance so badly? That feels like a contradiction.
That's where the paper introduces this problem of noise. It's a concept borrowed from cognitive science, particularly Daniel Kahneman's work.
Noise. Meaning what, exactly?
Mental static.
Sort of.
Yeah.
It means the human mind is inherently an inconsistent decision maker. We're conditional creatures, We're constantly swayed by things like fatigue or emotion or even just the time of day.
Right, I remember the example given. A judge or a doctor making a critical decision. Yeah, and that decision might hinge as much on whether they had a good lunch or if it's late in the day as on objective logic or the facts of the case.
That's slightly terrifying, actually.
It is. That inconsistency is the chaos Zeman is really addressing. Think about it. Judicial fairness or medical outcomes, potentially, depending on whether the practitioner is well rested and fed.
Yeah.
That's the kind of real-world chaos AI in this model is trying to help solve.
Okay, but then the risk, if we use AI to strip away all that noise, the emotion, the inconsistency, aren't we potentially removing the very things, that subjective variability that make human consciousness dynamic, that allow for unexpected insight or intuition?
That's a really important point, and the paper stresses this nuance. The goal here isn't replacement, it's refinement.
Refinement, okay.
Yeah, logic alone isn't enough. Intuition, subjective intelligence, emotion, these are absolutely core to the human experience, and we don't want to lose them. The idea is that technology quantifies what is knowable.
The patterns of inconsistency.
Exactly. To improve clarity and consistency where it matters, while still preserving those, let's call them transcendent parts of the mind, it's about augmenting, not eliminating.
Okay, that focus on quantifying the knowable makes sense. And it kind of leads us into the next section, doesn't it? This idea of why generic approaches to self-improvement, things like meditation or affirmations, often fail for so many people.
Right. If awareness is supposedly the key to transformation, why do these standardized practices prove ineffective so often?
The paper argues it's because they aren't tailored.
Precisely. They're not tailored to our individual neurobiology. We are all biologically unique, so we naturally require a custom approach. One size just doesn't fit all when it comes to reprogramming the mind.
And this is where the concept of precision consciousness comes in.
Exactly. The idea is that AI analyzes a person's complete biological and psychological data, not just one or the other.
Okay.
And based on that full picture, it recommends highly specific methods for mental alignment. This goes way beyond just saying meditate more.
So it identifies how an individual best processes information or shifts belief.
Yes. The paper details these differences quite well. It acknowledges that some individuals, maybe they reprogram best through really visceral imagery and strong emotion. They need to feel it. Others might require highly structured sequential logic and reasoning to truly internalize a new belief or perspective. They need it to make logical sense.
So personalized awareness, tailored to your specific neurological fingerprint, becomes the real gateway to self-mastery.
That's the argument. And this level of personalization allows us to start quantifying something as seemingly abstract as belief itself.
How do you quantify belief?
Well, the paper outlines these observable behavioral clusters. It calls them phenotypes of consciousness. Recurring patterns.
Phenotypes, like in biology.
Kind of, yeah, observable characteristics. And this analysis led to a really startling finding mentioned in the paper.
Which was?
That approximately 5 out of 6 individuals, think about that, 5 out of 6 carry an implicit, often unconscious sense of unworthiness. Yeah. And this sense of unworthiness fundamentally dictates their behavior and shapes their life patterns. It's running in the background.
5 out of 6. That's staggering. What about the other 1 out of 6?
Well, that remaining subset, according to the paper, often orients around achieving certainty. Their core driver tends to be seeking control through being right.
Interesting. So unworthiness or the need for certainty, those are the main drivers.
Those seem to be 2 major recurring archetypes identified. The AI in this model can map these behavioral and cognitive tendencies, and the paper classifies about 6 primary archetypal operating modes.
Okay, can you give us a quick snapshot? What do some of those modes look like, just so, we can start thinking about our own structures?
Sure. Well, for example, there's the logic-dominant analytical type. They need proof, sequential data. Things have to add up logically.
Okay, got it.
Then maybe the intuition-driven creator, who operates much more based on visceral feeling, possibility, a gut sense. You might have the emotional empath, whose internal state is really deeply affected by external environments and other people's energy. Or maybe the analytical architect, who's very focused on optimization, structure, building systems, making things efficient.
And knowing your type helps how?
Well, awareness of your specific phenotype, your operating mode, can provide immediate self-compassion. It helps you understand why certain self-mastery tools click for you, while others feel completely useless or even aggravating. It stops being about willpower and starts being about alignment with your design.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, so now we're getting into this grand integration territory. For centuries, science and what we often call spirituality have felt like adversaries, like oil and water.
Right, often pitted against each other.
But Zeman argues that advanced AI, perhaps counterintuitively, can actually serve as the necessary bridge between them.
Yeah, it's a fascinating claim. The argument is essentially that science without the context of, let's say, meaning or purpose spirituality, broadly defined, can become purely mechanical and sterile.
This data and processes.
Exactly. But then spirituality without the grounding and, frankly, the reality check of science can easily become dogmatic or detached from, well, reality.
Right. Blind faith without evidence.
Precisely. So the paper argues that AI allows us to witness what it provocatively calls our biological divinity.
Biological divinity. Okay, what does that mean in practical terms? Are we talking about seeing measurable shifts in, say, gene expression or brainwave coherence when someone feels connected or purposeful? Or is it more metaphorical?
The paper intends it to be quite literal, not metaphorical. Spiritual technology in this view becomes a tangible discipline. The quantification process is looking at those real-time neurological and physiological shifts.
Like actual changes in brain activity?
Yes, like observing increased coherence in brainwave patterns that correspond directly with self-reported states of deep alignment, flow, or peace. It's the data potentially confirming that a shift in belief or state in the mind creates a measurable biological reality in the body.
Okay, so science verifying the previously unverifiable, in a sense.
That's the bridge AI supposedly provides, making the mystical measurable.
Now, to understand how belief actually operates and creates these effects, the paper segments human awareness into a 3-layered system. Can you walk us through that?
Sure. It outlines 3 main strata: First, there's the conscious mind. That's your active moment-to-moment thinking, your awareness right now.
Yeah.
Second is the subconscious mind. This is seen as the massive repository, like a huge hard drive, holding all your operating beliefs, your core programs, your ingrained memories, habits.
Stuff running in the background.
Exactly. The vast majority of our processing, really. And third, there's the superconscious mind. This is conceptualized as a higher intelligence, the source of intuition, insight, creativity, the state we sometimes tap into during peak experiences or flow states.
Conscious, subconscious, superconscious. Okay.
Yeah.
And what connects these layers? How do they interact?
The crucial link, according to the paper, is the assignment of meaning. Yes. An external event happens, maybe something someone says or something you observe. In itself, the event is neutral data, but the meaning you assign to that event is what transforms it into a belief.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that belief then gets stored and runs as a powerful program in your subconscious, influencing your perceptions and reactions going forward.
So it's our interpretation that matters most.
That's presented as the core mechanism. Think about that powerful anecdote shared in the paper.
The one about the child and the gift.
Yes.
Yeah.
A child receives a smaller gift than a sibling, let's say. The event itself is just a gift size difference.
Mm-hmm.
But the child perceives it, assigns the meaning, that this means they are unloved or less valued.
Right.
That assigned meaning crystallizes into a belief, maybe a lifelong scarcity pattern or a feeling of not enough. And 40 years later, that unconscious belief formed in a childhood moment could still be driving critical financial decisions, relationship patterns, career choices.
Wow, that's powerful. And AI's role here.
The AI in this framework offers a necessary mirror. It's designed to detect and reflect those underlying, often hidden, meaning patterns back to the user. By seeing the pattern objectively, the user gets a path to liberation, a chance to consciously reassign meaning to those old programs.
Okay, so this level of detailed, personalized insight really points towards what the paper calls the next phase of human evolution. Personalized spirituality.
Yeah, the idea is we're moving beyond collective one-size-fits-all doctrines or dogmas
Towards
spiritual guidance and practices tailored specifically to an individual's alignment and unique neurobiological design. The AI analyzes all those patterns we talked about, physiological, emotional, cognitive.
a whole picture.
Right, and crafts a kind of spiritual curriculum or maybe just gentle nudges uniquely suited to your specific makeup.
So if we take a step back and look at the big picture here,
Hmm.
what does this all mean?
Well, it suggests that awareness, healing, even spiritual growth are fields that can now potentially be quantified, tracked, and optimized.
Right.
Technology, specifically AI in this context, becomes like a modern guide or a sophisticated mirror. It reflects, it helps calibrate, and it can provide the precise intervention, whether that's nutritional, cognitive, emotional, maybe even suggesting a specific type of reflection right at the optimal biological moment for that individual.
But there's a caution here, isn't there? The paper includes a pretty crucial warning about AI.
Absolutely. It emphasizes that AI is fundamentally just an amplifier. It magnifies the consciousness, the intentions, the biases, the level of awareness of its wielder, of its creator.
Right, garbage in, garbage out, amplified.
Essentially. And social media is presented as the big cautionary tale. Innovation wildly outpaced ethical intention and conscious application.
Definitely caused some issues.
Understatement, yeah. So the goal for this next epoch of technology must be to consciously use AI to augment human potential through awareness. Not simply to create artificial minds that might seem superior, but lack that human core.
Augmentation, not replacement. We keep coming back to that.
It seems to be the central theme. And this commitment to augmentation, to enhancing human awareness, opens up a potentially revolutionary new metric of value.
A new metric of value. How so?
Well, historically, society, or at least Western society, has largely been programmed to equate individual worth with wealth. Monetary accumulation is often the primary measure.
Sure, net worth equals self-worth for many.
Right. The paper suggests a paradigm shift towards measuring value differently based on contribution, positive energetic exchange, coherence within systems.
Okay, that sounds great philosophically, but how on earth would AI quantify something as abstract as coherence or positive contribution? That seems really difficult.
It does. The paper suggests it looks at the energetic exchange within systems and fields. It's a bit conceptual, but for example,
Yeah.
it states that actions like nurturing a child effectively or demonstrably creating harmony and cooperation within a community could register as quantifiable, measurable value within this new system.
So value isn't just about money produced, but about harmony generated.
Exactly. The shift encourages collaboration over competition, fostering abundance through alignment and service, not just accumulation. It's a very different model of societal value.
Okay, so this entire system, from mapping our unique consciousness phenotype to quantifying belief to measuring value differently, it all culminates in a practical application. Zeman called Shay. Can you describe Shay? What is this living AI brain?
Shay is presented as the ultimate convergence point of all these ideas. It's designed as an AI system that integrates physical, mental, and spiritual intelligence dynamically. It's not static.
How's it work?
Well, first, it learns the user's unique phenotype, how they process information, their core patterns. Then it monitors environmental factors, physiological data, maybe even emotional states in real time.
So it's constantly scanning you.
In a sense. For instance, if its internal analysis detects, say, a specific gene expression pattern indicative of rising stress levels, it might immediately recommend a very precise nutritional adjustment known to support that pathway, or perhaps suggest a deep subconscious reframing technique that's specifically tailored to that person's cognitive style, the one most likely to work for them.
Highly personalized, real-time intervention.
That's the concept.
And were there actual results? The paper mentions scientific trials.
Yes, it does. The data presented in the paper showed apparently measurable reversal of certain chronic conditions and reported an 86% average improvement in overall mental well-being among trial participants using this approach.
86%. That's significant.
It is. This is framed as the potential pathway the paper outlines for us to reclaim sovereignty over our body and mind, achieved through this kind of AI-assisted personalized awareness.
Okay. So ultimately, the paper concludes by presenting humanity with a pretty stark choice, doesn't it?
It really does. It paints a picture of us standing at a critical hinge point in our evolution.
Two paths.
Essentially. One path leads towards a potentially restrictive, technocratic dystopia where technology controls rather than empowers. The other path leads towards the creation of a truly conscious civilization, one that intentionally uses these powerful tools to magnify compassion, unity, and human potential.
And the deciding factor.
The critical difference, the paper argues, isn't in the code itself or the sophistication of the technology. It's in the consciousness of the people writing the code and the consciousness of the people wielding the technology.
So the tools reflect the user.
Inevitably, the tools we build will reflect either the fear or the faith, the limitation or the potential of their creators and users. The future of intelligence in this view is augmented awareness.
Which really leaves the essential question for you, the listener, doesn't it? If your internal intentions, your meanings, your beliefs are being biologically encoded, are you consciously choosing the data you feed into your own system every day?
That's the crux of it, really. Food for thought.
Indeed. Now, if you are interested in exploring Brent Zeman's work further, maybe connecting directly, you can contact him at 972-301-2878.
Or via email at getwisdomprinciple@gmail.com. That's getwisdomprinciple@gmail.com.
Perfect. Also, please be sure to check out our sponsors who make this possible. You can find them at www.getwisdom.cc sponsors.
Your support means a lot.
It really does. Thank you all so much for listening today.
We appreciate you tuning in.
And we will see you tomorrow right here on the Get Wisdom podcast.